I haven't done a video in a couple of days, and that's been because I've been in just the weirdest mood this week. Like, I don't really know what's causing it or what's going on or why or how or whatever. But if you asked me, I'd say, yeah, I feel good. I feel fine. I feel happy. It's been a decent week. You know, Ollie's had a great week at school. No red slips, no calls home. Touch wood, everything's fine. Not that I've got any wood to tap in here. I'm in a car, but everything's generally been all right in that regard. The things that would normally wind us up have been pretty decent. We're making progress with his school stuff and his EHCP and all of that. I was having a chat with someone yesterday on Twitter, and I reminded myself of something that they'd said that I hadn't mentioned in a video. They're actively looking for the fizzes to stop the pop now, which I thought was a great way of putting it. I've heard it be put that way before, and it's awesome that they're doing that now. They used to think, I felt like they thought things used to be spontaneous. Now they think there's a fizz first and they can prevent it, and that's great progress. So I feel really good about that. But aside from that, Ben's been ill with this virus that he's had. It's called something like slapface virus or virus number something. It's got all these weird names that don't give you any kind of idea of what it actually is. He had a virus. He was off on Tuesday. He went back yesterday. They said he was a bit upset while he was there. Claire's got strep throat, bless her. We found out this morning. She's really unwell. She was in tears last night. And I don't think normally those sorts of things would particularly bother me, but it seems like they are. I don't know why. I've been in a weird mood all week. I wonder whether she's getting the strep throat, sore throat, and Ben's getting the virus. Perhaps I'm just unwell, but you know, I'm not unwell looking. I don't sound unwell. I don't feel unwell, but I do feel really, really just argumentative, I guess is the word. The Pokemon group I'm in has been changed. It used to be called Pokemon Go Deep in Area or something like that. We changed the name for some joke reason the other day, and then it's become Richard Rants, because I was having a whinge about something in there. I wasn't. They were egging me on a bit about something, and then we were having a chat about it, and then it's become one of those. I was quite calm, and they said I was wound up, but I wasn't. And then it become like, look at me, so it become the joke was that I was wound up, and now we're all chatting about all sorts of stuff. I think we spent last night debating what colour something was, and we were all disagreeing whether it was blue or grey. And I was adamant it was grey, and so were a couple of other people, and other people were adamant it was blue. And that was the big. I think that's why it became the rant group, because we were all back and forth campaigning. But that was quite fun and light-hearted, so I felt like, you know, that was good. That was good to get just a joke going and cheer things up. But on a more stressy note, which I think is probably causing some of this, or at least, I don't know, I can't tell if it's a symptom or a cause. I had, bless him, I picked up Ollie and Emily from nursery. Everything's good. Picked up Ben. On the way back, I rang Claire to say, could you get Ollie's swimming stuff ready, take him swimming. Ollie suggested I get his pyjamas, and I thought, that's odd that he's suggesting something. That's great, though. That's interesting that he's showing a bit of foreplanning. So I got them, and then we got to swimming. I dropped Ben and Emily off, took Ollie with me. He's getting out of the car, and he just seemed a bit uncomfortable. I said, oh, what's up? And he said, nothing, I'm fine. And I said, okay. I'm thinking, well, maybe it's just me being off. I've been off all day. We went in. I'm getting him changed, and he said, it was raining a bit, and he went, God, the rain really soaked me. And I said, like, Ollie, it weren't raining that much, mate. And I couldn't understand what he was on about. And then when I was getting him changed, I realised his trousers and his underwear were drenched. He'd wet himself. I said, when did you do this? And he was like, when you were getting Ben, I wet myself. I said, well, why didn't you say? I could have taken you into the toilet. You know, I could have changed you at home. I said, does this mean that you've just basically weed all over the back seat of my car on your booster seat? And he was like, yeah. And I sort of said, well, for God's sakes, mate, you got to tell me these things, please. You know, like, my car's now going to smell of wee. It doesn't, thankfully. You know, and I was just like, oh. So I spent the half an hour while he was swimming wondering how bad it was going to be, but I didn't dare go out and check. And when I got back, yeah, his seat was drenched, and I didn't have a backup seat. Emily doesn't use one anymore, so there was no seat for her. So, to swap with, sorry. So I took him home. He had to sit on the wet seat. And when we got back, I said, did you get wet from the seat? Because I'd covered it up. And he said, no, I'm fine. So I took him upstairs for bed, and on the bed, and he sat there, and I suddenly realised the bed was wet. And I was like, Ollie, are you wet from the car? And he said, no. And I said, well, why are you soaking wet then? And he's adamant it was from the car. So I was like, has he wet himself again? Or is it the car? And he kept telling me he didn't, and it was the car. And I said, but you told me the car didn't. And I was like, you got to tell me the truth. And then he was getting upset that I was accusing him of lying, and I wasn't. I was just saying, tell me the truth. So we were back and forth on that. bless him. And I was trying to be really calm, but it was clearly upsetting him that he was, you know, unfortunate about the wetting. So I just changed him and, you know, tried to talk him down from the stress. I didn't want to wind him up because he has had a really good week. But then I got downstairs, and by that point I was just spent. I was like, oh, I've had enough. I want to go to bed. And Claire was watching some program about some medical thing, and it was really boring. So I tried to write for a bit. I feel like because I was stressed, I got into my writing more, and I planned out the next sort of 3 or 4 chapters of where I'm writing. And I feel like when I'm sat down at the weekend to write, I'll churn out quite a bit now, because usually the starts of chapters are when I get the most word count done. So that's good. I went to bed earlier than normal, but Ben was crying, and I remember he was still crying by 1:30, and I couldn't get him to sleep. And it got to the point where I was begging him to just go to sleep. I was like, please, and nothing seemed to be working. I woke up at whatever time, let's say, I think it must have been just before 7, and he was still crying. And I asked Claire whether he'd been crying all night, and she kind of made a noise. I don't know whether that was a yes or a no, but one way or the other, he hasn't stopped. She can't speak because of her voice. So she was rough. You know, I had to be doing all the bits and pieces. I had to get the kids up. They didn't want to get up. It was like, oh. So when I got into work, I was late because I'd been faffing around with the kids, and I was mortified that I was late. I had to get petrol, and I was stuck and all of this sort of stuff. So I was very, and I pulled up, and I'd parked up, and I was on yellow line. So I asked my colleague if she'd come out and move her car, and she did for me. Pulled forward as far as I could, parked, went inside, and I'm working away. And I think one of my colleagues went out for a cigarette, and they sent a jokey sort of text going, look how close you parked to her car. Like, you're basically touching bumpers. And I looked at the picture and I laughed and said, well, you know, there's not enough room out there. You know, it's probably a good job I can be so precise, sort of thing. You're making light of it. And we're all having a bit of a laugh because we're like, that is ridiculously close. I don't even know how I managed that. So about like 20 minutes went by, and somebody had to move their car for whatever reason and go off and do something. And my colleague was asked to move her car into the parking space, and then like I would move mine into a car park space next time one came up. So I'm sat there working, and one of my colleagues goes, your car's just gone by. Like, have you given someone your keys? And I'm like, no. Thinking he's joking, I just laughed and ignored him. And he was like, no, seriously, mate, your car just went by, I swear. And I got up and went out, and my car had moved from one end of the car park to the other. And I was just like, oh no, like, I've not put the handbrake on, have I? So I went out and had a look, and it had gone like so slow, but it had rolled into the back of my colleague's car, and I had to message him, and I was in such a panic. I said to him, like, I don't think it's done any damage, but come down, whatever you need. You know, I've said to him, whatever it needs, more than happy to pay for the like, it looked like there was a little line on it, and he's going to go. He sort of said, oh, I won't worry about it. It's an old car, it's fine. And I said, no, go get it done, and I'll give you the money, it's fine. But we were chatting about it, and then I went in, and I think I just snapped then. Not at him, it's about something unrelated that I won't get into, but yeah, I kind of lost my rag and was just swearing and being a bit stressy, and I feel so embarrassed because, like, my colleagues thought it was hilarious. They're all like, yeah, that, you know, whatever, mate, okay. And I sort of apologised to the people who I needed to apologise to, because it was outrageous. I shouldn't have done it. I feel really dumb. I'd kind of had enough of the week at large. I think I just snapped. So now I feel really sheepish because I'm kind of just sat around like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. I think they've been really understanding. You know, I spoke to the HR lady and just said, look, I'm really sorry. She said, no, it's okay. Are you all right? I've said, yes. You know, we've talked about it. And, you know, it doesn't sound like it's going to have to go any further than that. You know, I feel like the air is clear. I've got no kind of continuing need to bring it on. But I just feel like such a dick. And I'm just like, oh, why did I decide to vent there? You know, it's a mixture of things, and now I'm just like ready for the weekend. My colleague was like, you get to have a lie-in tomorrow, and I was like, oh, bloody won't. Like, I'll be up I'm just worn out now, I think. But it's weird because I don't feel worn out. I don't feel negative. I don't feel sad or anything like that. I don't want this to seem like it's a down video. It's hard because I want to tell it in like aren't I a plonker, what a stupid thing to happen kind of way, but ultimately, I don't know what's going on this week. It's ridiculous. Like my mum always says, I don't know how you deal with all these different plates spinning and all the stress and everything. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But I think it probably caught up a little bit. That's what I'm putting it down to. That's the way I'm summing up. I think it caught up a little bit. And that's just the way it is. And yeah, I'm okay. I think everyone's okay. I don't think I've caused any kind of problems for anyone other than the poor bloke whose car's been bumped. But I joked to him. I said, like, it shouldn't cost much. It looks really, simple. I said, don't come giving me a bill for a brand new car because, I'm not that generous. But, there is a little line there and that will be fine. Other than that, I mean, God, what it's that most of that stuff was in the past 12 hours. I've had a hectic 12 hours. It's no wonder I haven't had another migraine or something. I kept wondering whether that might be part of it, whether that's why I'm feeling a bit off. I mean, to explain the kind of weird, I can't think of the right word. It's like the petty things that have kind of, it's like petty rage almost. Like, I went to Tesco's to buy a meal deal and I picked up an egg mayo sandwich because I keep eating cheese or pasta, and I thought, I can't keep eating cheese or pasta, this is driving me nuts. Went to the till, went to pay, it come up as like a £5, and I was like, this isn't the meal deal price. And he said, yeah, that sandwich isn't in it. I went back to the chiller, there was no egg mayo, it was literally cheese was my option. So I just put it all down and got in my car and drove to Co-op about a mile away. And then I text Claire going, like, I didn't do anything ragey or angry or ranty, but the fact I drove a mile because I was so sick of having cheese, I thought, yeah, I'm not right at the moment. I'm not feeling it, and it's like, it's just slightly odd feeling that way, and it's probably slightly odd talking about it on the internet like this, but I just need this week to end, and I need the weird fogginess to clear. I imagine once the bugs are out of our house and everyone's feeling better, it'll all go back to normal. But at the moment, I think because everyone's starting to feel low, I don't even feel like I'm taking more on. I don't even think I'm doing more and that's causing it. I feel like I'm just, I don't know, I'm just not particularly coping well with it, I suppose. But yeah, that's why I've not done videos on Wednesday and Thursday. I felt I owed one today, and sorry, I hope it doesn't sound whingy. I'm hoping you found entertainment in how stupid my life is. My cartoon life really is a fiasco. I messaged my friends about it and they're all a little bit like, what? They don't really get how weird I am half the time. I could do with just some normalcy, really. Or I mean, if it's not going to get normal, just get so absurd I can start a TV show where a camera crew just follows me around laughing at all the ridiculousness, and I can just retire on all the riches from it. That'd be nice. Let's do that. Let's make me the next Kardashian family, just without the beauty and all of that stuff. And yeah, jobs are good, and I can probably get reality TV shows going. I'll purposely go into Tesco's and rant about the sandwiches if that's what it is, but I'm not having a great week, and I just want to sleep. And I may have to, if Ben's like that tonight, I may just check into a hotel or something, because it's the only answer, but then I'd leave poor Claire on it. I don't know what to do. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to wrap up. Let me know if you've got any ideas. I need to fill in the EHCP form this weekend. I had a call from Liaise, who, bless her, the lady who gave me the advice on the call has worked. She apparently lived in Lincolnshire and had a child who goes to school in Cambridgeshire, and she's dealt with the exact same situation. And she laid out a lot of interesting stuff for me. I didn't write as many notes as I hoped to, and she sent me some notes via email, but I probably need to ask some questions. It was interesting, actually, that she filled out. So I was told there'd be no problem with Ollie going over the border for school, and Kev said there would be problems with it, and then my school said there wouldn't be. But then she said it's not that there's a rule or a problem with it, it's that the Peterborough schools will simply just say, no, Peterborough kids first, sorry, we can't just take every county's kids before our own, and then they won't take him because there's no spaces, because they'll take Peterborough kids first. And I was like, that's fair enough, that makes sense. I'd be annoyed if I was in Peterborough and they were giving all the spaces to other kids in other places, I imagine. And yeah, but she did say, which is interesting and worth checking out, and I don't know whether this would derail us or hold us back or help, but she did say it's not the same for medical help. We could check whether Peterborough would give a faster diagnosis than what he's got at the moment. That would get us, I mean, I don't know at the moment. We're booked in for a clinic. I'll find out when the appointment is. What I may do is, when I get the letter through, if it says like 2020, I'll ring around Peterborough and say, could you do this quicker? What are your thoughts? Maybe just get them to send the referral across. I don't know. I'll see what happens. But that was reassuring. That was good. There's just a lot going on at the moment. It's busy as always. I'm going to wrap up because my lunch hour is coming to an end in a minute. And like a moron, I've spent my hour of rest recording a video. But I don't know. I just felt like it might help me if I talked about it. These videos are always a great help. Sorry you have to put up with my nonsense, to be fair. But thank you very much for getting this far if you have. I'm going to wrap up. I'll see you over the weekend, no doubt. Thanks for watching. Cheers.